Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm James Caldwell, and today I want to talk about this. This is a 2004 American Deluxe Stratocaster. I purchased this from Southpaw Guitar Shop in 2006, and I know this because it says so on the receipt. I never throw anything away. This guitar, according to the receipt, is an American Deluxe Strat with an ash body in cherry burst with a maple neck. Actually, I've never heard cherry burst. I don't know if that's an official Fender finish or not, but that's what they put on the receipt at Southpaw. I know this is a 2004 because the serial number starts off DZ4, which is telling you 2004. I purchased it new. And as a matter of fact, Southpaw, I think, only had it in their shop for a week or two before I got it. They had two of them with the exact same finish. And I picked this one. I have to admit that the main driving factor for me purchasing this guitar was its looks. It is a stunning guitar. The ash in the body is beautiful, and this cherry burst finish is just amazing. It's a gorgeous guitar, front and back. They have a pearloid pick guard on it, which gives it kind of a vintage vibe. It's very classy. The plastic parts, the pickup covers and the knobs are all an aged white looking plastic. The maple in the neck is just fantastic, and this one is littered with little dark specks throughout, which gives it a lot of character, I think. Some people might be turned off by that, but I think it's gorgeous, and again gives it a certain vintage vibe. The fretboard inlays are a pearloid dot, and again it's a nice touch. Just beautiful. Just to go over a few more of the specs, it does have locking tuners, which is nice to have. It makes string changing a little quicker and easier, and it's a more stable way to attach the strings. The bridge is a 2-point tremolo bridge, and by the way, it has a pop-in tremolo arm. I took that out just to show you, but instead of screwing in like the originals, this one has a little notch in it, and so when you push it in, push down with a little pressure, it snaps into place, and then it is free just to spin around. Actually seems to have less play in it than the thread-in ones I've seen. The other thing about this bridge, these saddles are solid, and they are slotted with a very soft curve to them where the string comes through. And I must tell you, I have never broken a string on this guitar, even with really crazy bends. And it's just, I've never broken a string. And Stratocasters I've had in the past with the old style bridges, they would eat strings if you tried to do stuff like that. Other features include this chamfered off heel joint here, which is supposed to give your hand easier access to the higher frets as you come up. The neck is, I'm not sure if it's a C or D or what you call it. It has a satin finish. Your hand just glides along it. It has rolled fingerboard edges, so it's very soft to the touch on the sides. Really nice. It's a fast playing neck. Also, this has 3 vintage noiseless pickups, and it has something called S1 switching in the volume pot here. There is a button, and it clicks down, and that changes the wiring of the pickup selector completely. As a matter of fact, there's a little diagram that comes in the case that explains what the switch does with the button up or down. With the button up, it's your standard Stratocaster, and this is position 1 would be your bridge pickup, 2 would be bridge and middle, 3 would be middle only, 4 would be middle and neck, and 5 would be neck only. But with the button down, it throws a capacitor into the mix, and it wires the pickups in series or parallel or something. And I believe in the middle position with the button down, you have all 3 pickups on, which is something you can't normally do on a Stratocaster. The two tone controls are wired so that the top one here is for the neck pickup and the lower one here is for the middle and the bridge pickup. Again, that's something they didn't do on the original guitars, but you do have a tone control on the bridge pickup. The first Stratocaster I owned was from 1978, and I actually got that when I was in high school. I didn't get it in 1978, but it was a 78 based on the serial number, which was S8. And being a kid, I was just excited to have a Fender Stratocaster. What I remember about that guitar is that, first of all, not that they were trying to cut corners, but some of the decisions they made in their process would have you scratching your head. They came out with a 3-bolt neck pattern with 2 bolts up front and 1 at the back with this like a pick-shaped metal plate there. And I remember that I would play the guitar at home, I'd throw it in the case, drive to band practice, take it out of the case, and I'd hit a chord and it'd be a little bit off. And what you would do is you would just grab the upper horn here and the top of the neck, and you just push or pull, and you'd hear a little crack as the neck would shift. And then you'd give it a strum and say, okay, I'm good. And that was just routine, that the neck would shift and you could pop it back into place. Another horror story that I have about that 78 Stratocaster is that I had only owned it a month or two. It had a screw-in tremolo arm, and I wasn't going wild with it, but I would use it. And one day it just broke off in my hand with the little threaded portion still down in the tailpiece there, and I couldn't get it out. So I ended up blocking off the tailpiece under the cover back here and locking the bridge down so it didn't move. And I played it that way for a couple of years. And it wasn't till a few years later that my brother-in-law said, let's get that out of there. And he drilled into it. And again, he couldn't get it out. So he just drilled right through it and then re-threaded the tail block. And he had a metal rod, which he bent, and he put threads on that, and we screwed that in, and that was my new tremolo arm, and it was a big, heavy piece of steel, and that was not going to break for anything. And I played it that way until I sold it years later. So when I first purchased this guitar and noticed all the little refinements they had done, that everything about this guitar was better. Having said that, I see now that 1978 Stratocasters sell for like $3,500. So I kind of wish I still had it. I purchased it new for $600. So everything about this guitar is an improvement over the old one, I say. But now that I've had it for many years, the finish is cracking off in the neck pocket here. And it's also cracked on this side. It hasn't come off, but there's a line. And if you tap on it, you can hear where it's hollow, where there's an area of finish that's just moving up and down. So it's ready to break off. If I put my fingernail in there, I'm sure I could chip it off, a big piece. And that alarmed me when I first noticed it. I first noticed it probably 2 years ago. I don't remember exactly when. And I thought the wood was cracked, but it's just the finish. About the same time, Philip McKnight put out a video talking about neck pocket finish cracking. And I watched that. I'd never heard of it before, but apparently on these style guitars with the bolt-on necks, double cutaways, it's a pretty common issue that over time the paint will start chipping away. And he's saying it's because the neck may shift, and you have to handle the guitar by body and neck. When you pick it up, use 2 hands, don't just grab it by the neck. I always handled this, at least I think I did, with 2 hands, so I don't know. But it's disappointing to have such a beautiful guitar with the finish just chipping off like an eggshell. I don't know what to do about it. I've thought about just trying to chip all the finish off and then just having a natural ash guitar, but I'll probably leave it alone, and I may end up selling this guitar, as I had recently purchased a Fender American Original 50s Stratocaster, which I just posted an unboxing video of last week. Be sure and check that out. Thanks for joining me today and checking out this guitar, a 2004 American Deluxe Stratocaster Cherry Burst with ash and maple neck. I'd appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and come back and check out more guitar-related videos. Until next time, I've been James Caldwell.